Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised. Good evening, or morning, afternoon, night, or however you want to decide what your time is. This is Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name is James McCarthy.
My name's Ethan Skinner.
I'm Jody Kite.
I'm Bray Davis.
All right. Coming up later for y'all, we have profound moments in media, be it TVs, movies, video games, books, and anything else we can throw in at media. But first, Jody, what have you been up to?
Finished Ahsoka. That is the Star Wars TV show that's on Disney Plus. It's based around the character that was originally in the Clone Wars, which I still need to watch. That was trained by Anakin Skywalker. I'm going to spoil the fuck out of this for our listeners.
I don't care.
So I enjoyed it. I count it as part of the good part of the Star Wars extended universe, of very much in the same vein of Mandalorian, in the way of, like, you have mysterious characters, people that are like just surface Star Wars fans don't really know a whole lot about, including characters from the Dark Horse comics.
I want to read Duck Horse comics now.
Duck Horse comics.
Duck Horse.
And some animated shows and things of that nature. Shit that, like, Feige and what's her name? I want to call her
Kathleen Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy said, like, at the beginning of when they acquired Star Wars, like, Disney's like, listen, guys, we know how much people love the extended universe of Star Wars, the comics, the TV shows, the animated series. We're not doing any of that. We're only going to focus on the main story plot points and characters from the cinematic universe. And they had to say fuck that, because around episode 8, fans started getting angry because Star Wars was really bad. Mm-hmm. So they decided to basically build back up from the ground up. On
what was his name? Filoni, who did
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni, who did the Clone Wars,
mm-hmm.
which is the second Clone Wars,
right?
And then he did Star Wars Rebels,
mm-hmm.
Which, from all I've heard, is very, very. They're both very, very good. I'm never going to watch Clone Wars just out of principle.
Clone Wars was highly good. I haven't gotten around to watching Rebels, but
I still need to watch.
The only thing that I've watched several times is when Ahsoka confronts Vader in Star Wars Rebels. Yeah. Like, that's one of the best things in Star Wars I've ever seen. And I have I barely know anything about the show, but I watch that like all the time. I'm like, let me put that part on. So
the cool parts about Ahsoka are parts that they kind of hinted at in this last season of Mandalorian. Now, the great thing about this show specifically is you don't have to have any knowledge of really anything outside the main cinematic universe.
Okay.
Because it really pulls from Ahsoka and, like, who her master was. And even if you didn't watch Clone Wars
mm-hmm.
and you watched Mandalorian season 2, she showed up there too. And so it's based around her. She has an apprentice. That's also an interesting, like, character arc and things like that. So it's also, like, I'm jumping around, but, like, in this season of The Mandalorian in season 3, there was an episode that was, like, kind of felt out of place, but now I can see where they were going with it, which is explaining that for them, it's like the Empire, for us, like, when the original 3 movies was over, like, that's it, the Empire is dead. Well, just like in reality, like, when a war happens and the war is over, there's still bad people hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, it never truly goes away, much like Star Wars stories.
Yeah, that was something they did a poor job with the new trilogy explaining.
They did a terrible job.
And it ended up just feeling like, well, this is the same thing.
It's
that
a
we
rehash,
just,
right?
Like, so, and they kind of just half mentioned it.
So in the episode of The Mandalorian that takes pretty much all on Coruscant, and doesn't really have anything to do with Mando, really, and it has to do with these rehabilitated ex-Imperial officers that are now supposedly being integrated into New Republic society. And of course, that includes them like repurposing droids and things like that, because one thing they never really get into with Star Wars is like, how are these ships getting built? How are these robots getting built? Well, things get blown up, and it seems like they're always repurposing tech and things of that nature. So it shows the bureaucracy, all the holes and all the underhanded, dirty political things that happen in a well-formed society. And so this continues in Ahsoka, because one of the generals is what are the names of the aliens with the two like things coming out of their heads?
Twi'leks.
One of the generals, she's a green Twi'lek, and she's very much like you're like working within the system to try and fix things, but she doesn't necessarily like ask for permission. She just does whatever seems right and kind of tries to make it work. And so, she gets put on trial at some point for like doing something that she's not supposed to be doing, because of course one of the courtroom people is probably like a spy, like an Imperial spy, because the Empire is always trying to come back. So you have that going on within the other plot point of Ahsoka and her student trying to, because they have past history and that's being explained to you. Well, also there is a character from, I think it's the Clone Wars, General Thrawn, the blue guy.
Thrawn. Yeah.
Thrawn. General
He's actually
Thrawn.
started as an extended universe, the heir to the Empire.
The heir,
book.
that's the Timothy Zahn books.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right. It's been so long since I read those, because those came out like the mid '90s.
And then Timothy Zahn wrote a new like updated, because they brought Thrawn into this stuff in Rebels,
Right.
So he wrote like a new series of books. I think I've got the first one on either digital or audiobook, and I just haven't watched it or read it or listened to it.
I read the first 3 Timothy Zahn books, but it's been 20 years. So I forgot everything that was, and I only read them once.
Yeah.
Because I bought Heir to the Empire on softback, paperback, when the second book just came out in hardback, so I bought both of them at the same time.
Okay.
And it took me like a few days to read the first one. I actually read the second book in one sitting.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like so into it.
I've heard that they're very good. I need to read them.
But then I had to wait a year and a half for the third book to come out, and then I was like, it took me forever to get back into that. But I don't remember any of the stuff, with the exception of like, the twins, which they kind of repurposed that for the Rey and what's his name, Kylo Ren character, sort of, but not really, because it's kind of weird in that regard. Anyway, I liked Ahsoka. I thought it was pretty good, and that's sad to say, but that's just how like Star Wars and a lot of these long ongoing franchises are. Right now, it's to the point of where it's like, is it acceptable as a Star Wars product compared to the absolute worst thing that we've seen? Because we've got like two varying degrees.
The Ewok Adventures.
That's the TV cartoon. There
were live action.
Oh, you're talking about the two there's 2 live action Ewok movies.
The one that I always watched was the Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, there's 2 Ewok
That
movies.
one has some quality to
Yeah.
it.
And this goth chick who could turn into a raven.
One of them is better than the other one, but the Ewok cartoon was actually okay. But anyway, I digress. But
And there's some people that say that I prefer the holiday special.
people don't prefer the holiday
they can
special.
say that, but they're trying to be funny.
Can you sit there and watch Harvey Korman like pour beer into his open orifice in his head and just sit there without any dialogue happening?
B. Arthur singing.
Carrie Fisher singing.
I was okay with Carrie Fisher singing because she was high on
B.
crack.
Arthur
Coke.
singing
She's high on
and
coke.
dancing.
A 15-minute Wookiee segment in Wookiee with no subtitles.
Yep.
That feels like an eternity.
Yep.
Yep.
but I prefer to use the scale of like we have the original trilogy and then we have the last trilogy because the prequels kind of fall in the middle for me. Even comparably to 8 and 9, the trilogy, the trilogy that came after the original movies is like whatever. Anyway, Ahsoka is good Star Wars for the TV shows that we're having, right? Compared to Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, Ahsoka is good compared to the lesser, enjoyable.
I still haven't seen Obi-Wan yet. I
haven't watched.
I haven't watched Andor. I've heard Andor is really good.
Andor is probably the only thing that I'm going to end up watching because I've heard it is so good. It's just, man, any TV show from Marvel or Star Wars just makes my eyes glaze over.
I'm caught up on Loki, except for the episode that dropped today. I'm enjoying it a lot because they really
and you call yourself a fan.
Yeah, they really dug into this season pretty hard on everything. Because like spoiler alert, at the end of the last season, the timelines are all unraveling. And they sort of try to tie that in with like what's his name showing up in the Ant-Man movie, Quantumania. That movie is really fucking bad. So moving on from Ahsoka, Gris is on sale for $4.99 on PlayStation. So I'm on I think the 3rd chapter of that. I like it. The game is challenging without being super annoying. However, platformers sometimes, even though there's like, you don't die or anything like that, you still have some struggles where you're like, oh man, I jumped off this cliff and now I got to take like 10 minutes to walk back to this one spot. But
there was one part towards the end where I couldn't figure something. I couldn't figure out how to do one thing. And I was like, I don't want to look this up because I feel like this is a game that I shouldn't look anything up. But I was like, how do I get this? And when you get to the water part, just remember that you can gather some butterflies. All this will make sense.
Okay.
Later. You can gather butterflies while in the water. You just have to see where they're at.
Okay. You don't like stone drop on them or anything like that? You just
you get other abilities.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Are you in red?
I'm in blue. I just started blue. Okay. I just started blue, and like I got to like pretty far into the blue section, and I'm kind of like probably where you were. So maybe.
Are you in the water?
Parts of it are water. There's like little platforms, and
you're like in the water.
Nuh-uh.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not right before where I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I just got the double jump in the last level. Because you get the rock drop in the first one, and then the double jump in the second one. And man, that bird was really annoying. Both of those birds were really annoying. However, I beat that puzzle in probably like 10 or 15 minutes, but it was annoying as fuck. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's like it's like, you know, it took me a little bit to get past that last one, the last end of the second chapter or whatever. So when I got to like the part where, you know, she's, you know, going through it, I'm like, I care, but I don't care because I'm aggravated still because that was annoying. But it's beautiful to look at. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Yeah. It's a gorgeous ass game. And one more thing, and we'll put it in the show notes or something on the guy's name because you can't look this up on YouTube by the title because something else will show up. So I showed Jay this like awesome edited clip show of like 500 movies. No, it's like 100 movies or whatever. And the name of the video is Action Movie the Movie. You'll have to look up the guy's name. The reason why the title doesn't pop up is this video only has 1.2 thousand viewers.
Oh, wow.
There's like almost no, and the editing this guy did fucking stellar. Just amazing. And it's like 20 minutes. Like he takes you through like there's a sort of like all these like scenes that are tied together have like a similar thing to them. Like there's there's like a 5-minute chunk of car chases, and there's like a 5-minute chunk of like cool ass explosions and things like that, and in between there's like, you know, like dialogue exchanges and things like that. It's a really fun ride to watch it, but you have to pay attention to it the whole time, because you're literally like watching like 2 to 3 seconds of a clip from something, like boom, 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 boom. It's like you got like Baby Driver, then you got a French Connection, and it's just like all shotgunning all this scenery at you. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, one more thing real quick. I'm not going to take too long on this. I played in the sealed Lorcana tournament at the shop Saturday. I won 2 out of 3 of my matches, which, I mean, prize support was like I think a pack for everybody anyway, because of how ridiculous everything is right now with the price of the packs. And I opened Enchanted Hades, which is a $100-something card.
Yeah. All of the Enchanteds are still pretty hefty prices.
Right. So
and I think Blue Hades is still 30.
Yeah, Blue Haze is about the only, Sapphire Haze is about the only card that for some reason hasn't really gone down much. It's gone down only about like $5-6, whereas the more expensive cards have gone down like maybe $10.
Right.
You know? Like Rapunzel is under $50 right now, and that card has been foil is still 120. I know this because one of our other friends opened a foil one of those, and I was like, yeah, that's a $120 card right there.
How much is the enchanted?
That's there is no enchanted for Rapunzel. There's
Interesting.
There's that Hades. There is Belle that is enchanted. Genie. Where are the other ones? Damn. Elsa.
Are all the enchanted cards just the ones that have like the merge ability, whatever it's called?
Shift.
No, because the Genie doesn't have that.
Oh, okay.
I know. Isn't there a Maui?
Yeah, there's a Maui enchanted. There's a Mickey Mouse Sorcerer enchanted. There's also a Mickey Mouse Rogue, which is a shitty card. Like it's a super rare, and you can get it for like $3.
Sadness.
It's not a good.
I wonder what their reasoning was behind on the certain ones they had, and
I don't know. I don't know. There's no like. I haven't figured out a pattern with them, so I don't know.
Like they're all the ones that you've listed are like of the same rarity, aren't they?
Well, there's no there because some of them are super. They're all no because Hades is just a rare. That Hades God of Olympus is just a rare. So they're all different. They're at least rare or higher, but and Maui I think is just a rare. So yeah, like. But they're just kind of all over the place with there's no discernible pattern. I guess they were just like, what can we? Oh yeah, the Surfer Stitch. That's also an enchanted. That's the one that I kind of really want because I think that's my favorite card in the set. It's a cool looking card, and it's also a really good card.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's all of them. Yeah, I don't know why what they chose. I think they were just trying to get like big name stuff, like. You know,
right? Characters that pop out
because people are gonna be like, "Oh, I want that Belle," or "Oh, I want that Elsa,"
right?
Or, you know, even the Hades, you know. So I think that's some of it.
That's me.
All right, Hades rhymes with Brady's, so Brady is up next.
All right. So saw a few movies this weekend. We'll start with. So I watched on Hulu. There's a movie called Quiz Lady just came out.
I saw things about that.
It stars Awkwafina and Sandra Oh, which just like those two actors were like, okay, let me watch this. It's not very long. It's a comedy. They're both sisters. Sandra Oh is the older sister, and she's kind of very like she moved to LA to be an actress, and she's kind of trash. Like she goes from man to man. She dresses really kind of provocative and kind of is very immature and things like that. And Awkwafina is kind of like a very reserved, doesn't like to be around people. Is very awkward and everything like that. But Awkwafina is obsessed with this quiz show, which is it's a little like Jeopardy. And in fact, like the host is Will Ferrell, and he's basically playing like actual Alex Trebek, not his Alex Trebek from Saturday Night Saturday Night Live. But it's also like it starts with they do different things. There's like a charades thing that they can do, and there's like it's kind of a couple of different kind of quiz. And Awkwafina's character is super obsessed with this. Like she watches it every single night. She's like really, really good at it. And their mother, they think they get a call from their from her nursing home, and they think she's dead, but she really just ran off to Macau with some dude, and they find out that she is heavily in debt to a loan shark. So the Sandra Oh, she makes a video of Awkwafina like just answering all the questions while watching this show, and it goes viral, and everybody starts calling her the quiz lady, and Awkwafina's like really awkward, and she's like mad that she's getting all this attention. And then the bookie, seeing all of that, sees this and kidnaps Awkwafina's dog and says, "Hey, if you don't give me the $80,000 that your mother owes, I'm going to just kill your dog." So they through convoluted things, they end up auditioning and going on the quiz show to win this money. But it's actually it's not a laugh out. It's not like an uproar. There's a couple of really good jokes in there, but it's not an uproarious movie. But it's a solid movie to watch. It's not bad. And again, like my big thing was I really really like Sandra Oh, and I really like Awkwafina. I think that they're good actresses. So that's what really drug me, and they have really good chemistry together. So yeah, that's one of them. I also watched on Hulu A Haunting in Venice, which is the third of Kenneth Branagh's Poirot, however you say, I don't know. I have a can't
Is that
do
the
it.
one with Michelle Yeoh in it?
Yes, this one Poirot has retired, and this writer friend of his comes and says, "Hey, I've encountered this medium, and I can't figure out how she's doing all of her stuff. Come with me, and if you can't figure it out, then I'm gonna my next book's gonna be about her." And then some weird shit starts happening. Michelle Yeoh is the medium. They go to this house of this lady that is supposedly haunted by like orphans that got locked in the cellar, and they all starved and died. So yeah, it's probably the best. It is not even probably. It's definitely of the three, Murder on the Orient Express and A Death on the Nile. It's the best one of the three. If you were to watch one of if you were to say, hey, which one of these should I watch? I'd say watch this one. This is the best put together. This is the best cast. There's no like icky people in this cast. Mm-hmm. It's all like knocking it out of the park. You got Michelle Yeoh. You got Tina Fey, Kelly Riley. Some other people that I can't remember, that I can't name off the top of my head, but they're all doing a really good job.
Right.
There's also a little bit of horror in there. Like he starts seeing things and weird shit's happening. So it's very interesting in that. And it's, the other two for me were very like meh. Like I was just like, okay, that was a thing. It wasn't like terrible, but it also didn't like, oh man, especially like the last, like Death on the Nile has some atrocious CGI, and it just took me all out of it. And this, I think they actually like shot in Venice, even though it mostly takes place in one house. Right. But like when they're moving around, they're on like the canals and shit. So like it looks really good.
Yeah. So watch the other Agatha Christie movies from the 80s. Pick any of them, and they'll probably be better than the the Death on the Nile.
I remember. Was that the one where it had the bald guys, Poirot? I remember my mom used to watch these, and
they had the BBC had a Poirot ongoing Poirot TV,
it might have been that
TV series.
I can if you showed me a picture of the guy, I would be like, okay, I remember. They might
have done that, but I know that PBS also they imported British shows all the time as well, but PBS also had not necessarily Masterpiece Theater, but there was one I know that Angela Lansbury played Miss Marple, but she was also in some of the Agatha Christie movies as well, as other characters.
Yeah,
and so I believe that one of the Murder on the Orient Express movies that was in the 80s had a fucking stacked cast.
70s, it was the Sidney Lumet directed one. Yeah,
that might be the one that I'm thinking of.
Sean Connery, Albert Finney.
That's the one.
Poirot.
Okay, yeah, that's not
Anthony Perkins was in that.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
The one I'm thinking of is I think the BBC the show.
Was that Murder on the
That was
Orient?
Murder on the Orient.
And what about Death in the Nile?
That crew never did Death on the Nile. That would be. I would have to imagine that is the BBC production.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
I'm
Haunting in
looking it
Venice is actually genuinely pretty good. If you like mystery movies, it's a good one. I kind of and from what I've read, like this one was a lesser known book. It's not even called A Haunting in Venice. It's called like The Dinner Party or something like that. It's like a short story. It's not even like a book. So I'm hoping that Kenneth Branagh keeps doing these lesser known ones and just gets these solid casts together. Like that is something they've been stacked cast. It's just there've been a couple of people in there where they're either icky or they're just not good.
Right.
Like,
So Death on the Nile is also from '78 as well, and it Peter Ustinov as Perot. It had Maggie Smith, Angela Lansbury, Betty Davis, Mia Farrow, George Kennedy, Jack Warden, and David Niven. So it's all a different stat cast.
Yeah.
But still a stat cast.
Yeah, I guess that's just what you do when you do an Agatha Christie movie. Is you just get a stacked cast, and
that way you can't pay. Oh, they're not paying that one a lot of money. He's going to die. That one's getting paid the most. That one's probably
the good one. You can't really like pick out
Yeah.
anybody from this is the person that I just don't even know. Like, of course they're it. But yeah, Haunting in Venice, I would say solid. Pick it. Watch it. It's on Hulu. It's not a super long movie. And I think Branagh does a good job, and I hope he keeps doing these, and I hope he does the lesser known Agatha Christie stories.
Yeah, because I haven't heard of the last one you mentioned.
Yeah, like I said, I don't even. I think it's called The Dinner Party.
Right.
So if he keeps doing this and maybe keeps going out of the way, the one thing Death on the Nile does have is it has a gritty origin story for Perot's mustache. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing it has going for it. But
yeah, Murder on the Orient Express came out in '74, and also like it had Michael York.
Michael York was in there.
Lauren Bacall. Ingrid Bergman.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like also a stat cast.
Yeah.
Those
Vanessa
two.
Redgrave, I think, is in there. Too.
Let's see.
It's
yes.
one of the Redgraves.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Vanessa Redgrave is in there, and you already mentioned Albert Finney.
That was one of my favorite. Okay, so during the parlor scene, I had spoken to her, and she'd said the following, and then it cuts. I'll have to make a call to. No, I have to make a phone call to my lawyer. A woman that had lived in England all her life would just say, "I'm making a trunk call to my solicitor." So it was clear that she had been in America at some point in her life.
Yeah, yeah. That they go hard British on those.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned Jacqueline Bisset, right?
Jacqueline Bisset's in there.
Yeah. Those are fucking great. So like, ignore the new
You
ones.
even forgot Sir John Gielgud.
Yeah, Gielgud.
He's just in there.
Yeah.
I will say you can ignore the first two. I would
Right.
definitely watch The Haunting in Venice.
So
It's a good
watch the '70s movies and then watch the Haunting in Venice movie.
Murder isn't the new Murder isn't bad. It's just very meh.
But that one has like which one has Gal Gadot and
Murder on the Nile.
No, Death on the Nile has
Sure.
Gal Gadot, and she I've come like she's just not a good actress.
She's not a good
Isn't
actress.
she the one murdered on the Nile? Spoilers.
Yeah,
Yes.
and she's still in the movie for too long.
And Russell Brand is also in that
Russell
movie.
Brand and Armie Hammer.
Oh.
Yeah, we get a double dose of.
Oh my God! Did Armie Hammer eat Gal Gadot?
Possibly.
Oh no!
Good God.
Yeah. So
Armie Hammer has cannibalism rumors about him.
yeah.
Oh.
What in this day and age? That's a hell of a rumor to pick up.
That's one hell
Yeah.
of a rumor.
Allegedly, because there was a,
Allegedly.
there was a
Allegedly.
thing-
That's why we said rumors.
there was a thing where I don't know.
Fleetwood Mac rumors.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one thing. And last, so Ethan, one day, are you planning on having children?
No.
Okay, good.
Hey everybody, Future Jay here. So what would have followed this was a detailed review, I guess we could say, of Five Nights at Freddy's, because now both Ethan and Brady have both seen it, and they give you their thoughts and opinions in a more detailed version. And we just thought, you know what? Let's make this a rest stop. So later this week, or perhaps already out following this episode, we're going to have a rest stop on Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie, the experience. the torture. Spoilers. Anyway, back to the show, and Ethan, I think, is taking it over from here. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Ethan, save Brady from having to talk more about his week.
Yeah,
by talking about
please,
your
because
week.
I'm just gonna like whinge for the rest of the fucking night if we don't move on.
So I didn't watch any movies, but I did see some things movie related. I saw a movie trailer for an upcoming Nicolas Cage film, Dream Scenario.
I've heard of this movie. I want to watch it very badly.
It looks really good. Imagine everyone in the world is having their own dreams, but you pop up in every single dream.
Oh.
Just doing absolutely random things. Like someone could be like floating in the middle of the air and you're just raking leaves off to the side or some shit like that.
I'd sign up for that.
This is an A24 movie, I think.
A24, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, I'm
A24
down.
and Nicolas Cage. Okay,
Yes.
we're in.
Yep.
And so the entire world is like having this phenomenon with this unknown like college professor popping up in everyone's dreams. It looks really cool.
That sounds pretty
I
cool.
really want to see it.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I haven't watched that trailer, but I have seen some stuff about it, and it does look very. I've heard it's batshit insane.
It releases this week.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
nice.
Where?
Theaters.
Yeah. The Grand might not have room for it because they got that Bethlehem movie going.
The musical, Bethlehem the musical.
Are you what?
Yeah,
no,
dude.
there's like so like movie theaters like lately have gotten so many of these like Christian movies. It's
Okay.
fucking ridiculous.
There you go.
It releases November 10th.
That's
Okay.
tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
Is it
Yeah.
tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh
we're-
shit! Oh shit! That is tomorrow from the time of recording.
There you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, so by the time you listen to this,
It's
it will be
been out. And
Yeah,
why
it's
didn't
been
you
out.
watch it already?
Yeah,
Yeah.
next week I'll probably go watch the.
Ethan, what else you got?
So I was browsing the YouTubes and there's a channel I'm subscribed to, Dead Meats, where it's like they talk about horror movies.
That's
and
the James A. Janice
James A.
channel.
Janice,
Okay,
yeah. And so he has a series called The Kill Count.
Oh yeah.
And he did some videos on the first 4 Hellraiser movies. And so I watched the first 3 because I didn't have time to watch the 4th one. And it kind of looks cool. The Hellraiser movies, they kind of look interesting, kind of look cool.
Did you watch the movies?
No.
Okay.
I only watched those
Death scenes.
Yeah. Well,
The first 2 movies are solid.
Yeah.
well, the way they do it like a movie review, and then they also like count up like how many people.
I've seen
killed.
his videos
Yeah.
before.
And so I was also watching it and also had like commentary on like the making of the films.
Oh,
and all
yeah.
that. It looks really cool. And so
Well, yeah, because like the guy in charge. So Clive Barker is the guy who wrote the original story, which is like the Hellbound Heart.
Hellbound Heart.
Which I read. It's a novella. It's very good. But he's also an artist. So very rarely do you get someone who writes a novel, but also adapts the screenplay, but also designs the characters and how they look. And so he was able to do that. So all what you see is all of his design as far as like all the character concepts and stuff like that. Pinhead, all the other Cenobites, the box. I can't remember the name of the box.
The Lament configuration.
element
Yeah.
configuration, yeah.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you a tip. Watch the first 2 movies and call it right there.
Yeah. that's
No,
all
and then watch Hellraiser in space, and you're like, what is this?
Well, watch Hellraiser 4 and be very entertained the first 15 minutes that are set in the
watch
17...
the Hellraiser where they go on the internet.
No.
Hellraiser
Yeah.
4, the first 15 minutes are in the 1700s, and then all of a sudden after that, like, fuck that, let's go to space.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, nah, not my cup of tea. But
Yeah.
I saw the reviews on the first one, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2.
Yeah.
And,
The first 2 are really good.
and then also a Hell on Earth with the party scene. Where the CDs are thrown into someone's
Oh, yeah.
face.
The CD Cenobite, yes.
And
Cenobite.
in Hellraiser 3, they decide to change the canon of the Cenobites, and so instead of just being demons, if you're killed by a Cenobite, you become a Cenobite, but you become whatever kind of Cenobite
That
from the
killed-
way
yeah.
that you died.
Yeah.
So some guy gets a CD in his forehead and then turns into a CD Cenobite and shoots them out of his forehead.
Another
Yeah.
one becomes
Fuck.
a camera Cenobite.
Fuck that movie.
Yeah.
To me that's the worst one, but I haven't seen 8, 9, and 10. So
Explorers on the further regions of experience, demons to some, angels to others.
You can also watch the new one. I think the new one's pretty solid.
With the female Cenobite,
Yeah.
Female Pinhead. Yeah, I've heard that's a Hulu thing, right?
That one's pretty good.
I've heard that one's all right.
I don't have Hulu.
I like the second one a whole lot better than I like the first one. I was actually a little bit mad with the first one.
I think, but you kind of have to see the first one, you know. But yeah, no, but it feels like in chapter 1 and 2,
because it feels like a different, like it's not really a Hellraiser movie until part of the way through, like most of the way through.
Well, yeah, it's first off, you never know if anything's going to be a franchise. And
yeah, I can imagine it would have been better if I would have watched it not knowing any fucking thing about this, but knowing all about like the Cenobites and all this, it is a little.
When I saw Hellraiser 1, there was no Hellraiser 2.
Yeah,
so I had a different experience. Back in my day,
there was only one Hellraiser.
But you kind of need to watch both of those at the same time.
Yeah,
because it's basically one movie.
Yeah, they are very closely related to each other.
Yeah,
so yeah,
it's pretty much one movie.
I like how at the end of the first one, the guy like dips his hand in the fire to pick up the box. I
limit configuration.
I already forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
And then just turns into a fucking like skeleton dragon and just flies off.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's the 80s, man.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What a wild time.
I saw the behind the scenes of it. I think Clive Barker is that?
Yes,
Yes.
Clive Barker.
Yeah, he goes up to the production guy and says like, "Hey, what if at the very end we have this guy turn into this like monstrous like skeleton dragon? You think that could be done yet?" The production guy goes, "Yeah, but we're in the middle of shooting."
Right.
Yeah.
Clive Barker has always been
like
that.
Clive Barker. Sometimes you get really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You get your Hellraisers, and then sometimes you get
Lord of Illusions
or Ghost of Mars.
Yeah.
Ghost
That was
of Mars.
John Carpenter.
That was
though.
John
Yeah,
Carpenter.
That was
Yeah.
John Carpenter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
It's John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars.
seriously,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. I think Clive Barker did Lord of Illusions. I think.
John Carpenter.
It is John Carpenter's
Okay.
Ghost
was
of Mars.
John
yeah.
Carpenter, yes.
Yep.
There was something else shit that he did though.
Oh, he's done shitty movies.
Besides movie things, I've been playing some board games with Brady as of recent.
Oh my God.
We played
Camaraderie amongst the travelers.
We played Cascadia last week, which is build your own national park, pretty much.
Sort of, kind of, yeah.
And then today, actually, we played Merlin, the big box edition, which I came in last, but Bianca still beat Brady beat Brady by 1, so I'm happy.
Oh, shoot. That was a
Yeah,
very nice
she beat
close
me
game.
by 1 fucking point.
Yes.
It was Lord of Illusions that he did. That was a shit movie. He also did Candyman, though, as far as like writing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Clive Barker.
I've been
Yeah, I think he
interested in watching
wrote it,
Candyman.
and yeah, it was.
I really like Nightbreed. That movie is very divisive. though.
Everything good about Candyman is Tony Todd. In
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really
wait,
like.
wait a minute. No. Okay, so for people who didn't see that, which you might include everybody in the world.
Clive Barker wrote the screenplay for Rawhead Rex.
He did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
That movie's not good.
That's a movie and a half.
That movie's not good.
However, it has content for only a quarter of a movie.
That's true, too.
All right, Merlin, B1, and then but Cascadia for me is the more interesting game because of how it works and plays out. So explain that one out for me.
So you're essentially trying to build your own national park with different landscapes, and you get points by having certain animals in different environments, having environments grouped together. That also gives you more points. Seeing what animals you can have, like if you have a certain number of elk in a group, no matter what shape it is, you get points. If you have eagles that aren't surrounded by another, that isn't adjacent to another eagle, you get points. If you have bears mating off with another bear, you get points. And so it's very interesting, kind of like building your forest with keeping animals in mind, keeping like geological locations in mind. You
have tiles with multiple environments on them, and then they also have a symbol that says, okay, you can put an animal token on this, and there's different animal tokens. I think there's 5, and they all score in different ways, and then each of them have like 4 different scoring cards. So each game you could get a different combination of those. And you basically there's a draft. It's basically drafting where there's 4 sets of a token and a tile. and you can take one of those and then put them in your thing, and then put the token on something. And you're just trying to score as much from the animals, and then you're trying to make connecting environments. You don't have to put the exact same environment next to each other, but your largest area scores you points. You also have these nature tokens, which look like pine cones, that you can spend to, instead of just taking one of the set, you can take, okay, I want this token over here, but I want this tile that doesn't match it. So you can change things, but those also are points at the end of the game as well. So
I want to say either you or Ricky won that.
I think Ricky or Sims won. I didn't win. I think I was last.
Nah, I was last. I was last in both games.
I think I overheard part of that game where you were like, Ricky, what are you doing?
That's just a common statement.
Yeah, if you're playing a game with Ricky, he's going to try some bullshit.
These two eagles are right next to one another, but if we consider the west-east axis, then they're both in separate locations.
Yeah.
Not adjacent, so I get triple points.
Yeah.
It can be kind of annoying sometimes. But, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Other than that was me.
Mm-hmm.
Cascadia is hexes, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Cascadia is fun because as you keep going, you have more options open up because your area gets bigger, and sometimes those tile laying games get more get more stressful because your options limit. So,
Hey Jay, what have you been up to?
Did someone say something? Oh God, yeah. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, yes, I've been up to 2 things, all of them involving JRPGs in one way, shape, or form. So I finished up Final Fantasy II, and I've started Final Fantasy III. Final Fantasy II needs a remake the way 7 got, because I think there is a genuinely good story there. It's just like I said the last time, you have to fight your way to get to the story points.
yeah.
And a lot of the tropes of Final Fantasy start in 2, in my opinion.
Right.
Destroying the world, that 6 was not the first one to do that. 2 had that going on. Multiple characters dying. Oh, Eris, no, you died. No. You just have party members getting slaughtered every which way. The original doesn't have the extra story, which came because I couldn't remember if it was Dawn of Souls or Dawn of Ages, but at the end of Final Fantasy II for the Game Boy Advance, they do an epilogue with all of the characters that died basically in the afterlife, trying to take care of some shit in the afterlife. That didn't happen in the original Final Fantasy II. And one of the things I do like about these remasters is the fact you can experience them now with quality of life improvements and also bug fixes that you couldn't have back in the NES and Super NES days. I'm very happy about that because 2 on the Pixel remaster is way better than the Game Boy Advance one. And I have to imagine it's just even more superior than the Final Fantasy, because if I had to play this thing without a run button, I would lose my shit.
Yeah.
Because the world is too big and the locations on it are too spread apart.
Right.
So you have these long treks to go, and it's JRPG. So like every 3 steps, you're like you're battling every fucking minute. Again, I do believe the story is solid in 2. It's just you have to fight in order to be able to get that.
Right.
Final Fantasy 3. My favorite thing about Final Fantasy 3 is you get an airship within the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And then in the next 5 minutes, it blows the fuck up. So it's like, okay, that's great. Well, why would you do that? Well, you come to find out once you get out of your home valley that you're actually floating on an island in the sky.
Oh, wow.
And there's 3 levels of the fucking world. You have the sky, you have the main ground, and then you have underwater. Like, the game takes you places. It's insane. This is where they start codifying. The first 3 Final Fantasies are to me where you codify all of the major things that you will get in next fantasies until you get to 4. 4 is the last one because that's the introduction of the active battle time system.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy 3 brings in the job system, and the job system is not as refined as you would get in 5, or how it would play out with individual characters in 4 and 6. Where you can't, and this still gets me to this day. The DS remake, the 3DS remake for Final Fantasy IV, allowed you to basically change all the skills on everybody. So you could be Dark Knight, you could be Paladin Cecil with all of his old Dark Knight abilities. So you could just swap those in. And
That's
just
very
see what's going on there.
tactics like.
Yeah, but it goes like you could pair like the focus ability from Yang with with Edge's throw ability and focus and then throw, and you're always hitting like 99.99.
That seems OP.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. But then you have like they added super bosses, like they added Garyon, where you Mount Ordeals. The first time you go up there, you're trying to become Cecil the Paladin, so that's good. You go back there, Garyon is there, and you can challenge Garyon to a fight. And the first thing he does, he hits everybody for 99.99. And okay. There you go. You have to have learned Life 3. You have to learn on death to cast Life 3.
Life 3.
So that then everybody can resurrect, and then you can start fighting them. And
that was
like,
the only way you could beat the boss in 9 was Life 3.
Yeah.
Kuja.
They bring that into Final Fantasy 4 of all things, and it's complicated as fuck.
I didn't play that version of the game.
I like it. I think it's a good retelling of the Final Fantasy 4 story. And with the cutscenes and the voice acting, I think it kind of helps you understand what is going on along. And they also did some major fixes, like sometimes you get prompts that somebody's talking and they're not there.
Yeah.
Like it's not even that they're invisible.
Right.
They're
just
the character's
not there.
literally not there.
Yeah.
And it's just bad. But they fixed that and it's good. Now what they don't fix is that Kane betrays you 3 times, and every time it's like, really? You did it again? Why do I trust you? Okay, Kane, you're fighting with me in the final battle against Zeramus. Oh, okay, sure. So the other thing, we had this is our 4th session of Fabula Ultima. It's the first time we had the entire crew together, and I lost one of my players because they didn't like seeing the fucking the tanks get nuked in one shot. It was brutal.
Oof.
It was extremely brutal.
I died.
He died. He did, but
Gloriously.
When you go drop to 0, you can do one of 2 things. You can surrender, and your character will come back, but something bad happens to them. Or you can do a heroic sacrifice. And his heroic sacrifice was to basically take out the general that has been causing them a whole lot of problems. However, the general was reborn from a womb in the wall back at his home base, and he got his eye back for that. And then we meet our super professor doctor that is another one of our villains.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's kind of cool there. I like the notion. So they have this notion of GM scenes where no characters are taking place, but it is basically like NPCs and maybe villain NPCs. And even if the villains are introduced in GM scenes, everybody still gets a Fabula point because a villain was introduced or a villain came on the scene.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's very cool about that way. So it allows you to have these JRPG style scenes where your characters
Very
aren't
like
there,
cinematic kind of thing.
but you know what's going on. You kind of have an idea of what's been building up in the world. So it's very nice. So yeah, but Jody hopefully will be remaking a new.
Oh
new
no,
character.
I've already got something in mind.
And we lost our Bony Mage, and I do like
did.
that. Jason Holder, we will miss you, and we love you greatly, and hopefully Bellamy will find peace in.
We're down to like
world.
three tanks and 3 casters or 2
okay.
casters.
Yeah, well, we're down with a sharpshooting tinkerer, 2 tanks that are both going Arcanist in 2 different areas. One's picked the Oak, and the other one's picking the Forge, because when he got taken out in this one, he got taken out by a Magitech rifle that fired pure arcanium and melted his suit of armor into his flesh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's going to have fire and metal now.
I
as
was
part
the
of his
3rd
Arcanist.
tank. Now they're a tank down.
Yes.
Because I'm not playing a tank again. Why would I want to do that? I played a very like I was about to say optimize. I played not optimize at all. This game doesn't really go that route. Very open-minded and young buck of an adventurer, just like, oh man, this guy looks cool. Man, let's go over there and do that. Oh shit, I'm dead. So
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not playing that character again. I don't do back to back. So like, what's the opposite of like easygoing, fun loving, let me protect your brother, I've got your back kind of character? What's the opposite of that, Ethan?
Brady.
My answer is Brady.
I didn't mean to have him dump on you like that, but
Sure.
okay.
Well, I'm not going to finish that. That would just be No. But anyway, I'm playing a very we'll see.
Okay. I will send you the PDFs for the Necromancer and the Card Gambler.
Mm-hmm.
So just in case.
Can't look at it on my phone, man. It's
you still can't?
The text is too small.
God damn it.
I can't fucking read that shit on my phone, bro.
I have an idea, but I'll reveal it in later days and times.
I'm playing a character that's in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already got an idea.
But you could throw cards.
I don't want to do that.
Like Gambit.
No.
Are you playing Gambit?
Oh.
No.
Story first, abilities later.
Yeah.
He's playing Gambit.
No. No, I'm not playing Gambit.
There you go.
You're going to sexually harass so many people.
Listen,
And the
Shell.
one person he really wants to, he can't touch because she'll kill him.
My fault, Shell.
Mm-hmm.
Mon chéri.
Mon chéri.
Laissez le bon temps rouler.
We've got to make it a little less racy because this is a cartoon rated Y7.
Gumbo Mufalata.
In Marvel Champions, Gambit literally has a card where the flavor is he's flirting with chicks.
Dude, let me tell you where Disney's not putting their money at real quick since you mentioned Gambit. I was watching a YouTube video and like an ad popped up and I didn't know if it was something new or not. And they literally had a 3-minute, it wasn't unskippable, but I watched almost all of it to see what the fuck was happening. Because I'm like, they can't just be showing like 3 minutes of this just for whatever. It was 3 minutes to let you know that the 90s Fox Kids TV show X-Men is on Disney Plus now. 3 minutes.
They're supposed to be doing X-Men 95, which is like continuing from that.
Continuation of the story.
Well, that wasn't what I saw, though.
Oh, yeah,
I saw just, hey, X-Men's on cartoons on Disney. I'm like,
I need to rewatch that. I don't think I ever
watched all of it.
I probably didn't watch all of it.
I didn't see every episode, but I watched almost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all remember when they were making the Gambit movie and then it just kept getting like pushed back and pushed
Yeah,
back?
that's probably not a bad thing. Because
Looking back now, I'm glad it didn't happen because after the third X-Men movie, the original third X-Men movie,
So
The
Taylor
final stand.
Lautner played him in Wolverine.
I remember.
And then Channing Tatum was supposed to play him in the Gambit movie.
Yep.
And it didn't. Like, let me say this: not Channing Tatum, excuse me, Taylor Lautner. God bless that guy, but he's like one of the most snake bit actors because I liked John Carter from Mars, but it just didn't work.
Well, yeah, John Carter from Mars had its own issues, but let's not get into that right now. But yeah.
Yeah, he's not a terrible actor. I've heard he's good in the Waco series, and he was okay in that second season of True Detective. Although
he was also like one of the young up and comers from Friday Night Lights, which was.
I need to point something. Taylor Lautner did not play Gambit.
Who played Gambit?
Taylor Kitsch, however the hell he's.
Oh yeah, we're saying the.
Okay, no, it is Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah.
Kitsch.
Yeah,
we're
it's
talking
not like
about Taylor Kitsch. We're just calling him Taylor Lautner.
Lautner.
Like, y'all are saying that, I'm like, I don't remember a wolf man.
You're
playing
fucking
Gambit.
supposed to protect
That's
us
the
from
guy
that.
That's how much he's fell off because we.
Oh, he was
forgot
Twilight dude. He was Werewolf Man.
That man.
Remember when he had
has
his own action movie? They were
fell
trying to
off.
like.
No,
If you could
no, I
tell-
don't.
There is no way you remember the name of that movie.
I don't. Ethan, what was the name of that movie?
What movie?
Exactly.
Exactly. No, leave it there. That's the joke.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We could be making this up and you wouldn't fucking know. That's how hard that motherfucker
All
fell
I
off.
remember was in the trailer, like some CIA corporation or something
He
was
was
trying
doing
to.
he was doing a Jason Bourne.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
all I remember.
yeah.
Don't look it up. Don't spend your energy
I'm
on
looking
that.
at Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah, we're talking about Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah, we're talking about.
But we keep saying so everything. Just pretend that we said Taylor Kitsch.
So,
because that's who we were talking
So
about.
the third thing I did this week was early onset dementia.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Welcome to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name's James McCarthy.
No,
That's the dementia
this
joke.
is not. This is not dementia.
This is not dementia. What is this?
This is everybody in the entire world, including Taylor Lautner, forgot that Taylor Lautner existed.
I was willing to take some blame for not knowing Taylor Lautner and Taylor
No,
Kitsch.
fuck that guy.
That would have
Like-
been a different Lighthouse movie
Like,
with him instead of Robert Pattinson.
Like, yeah, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart were like, hey, we did this big franchise. Let's do interesting things now. And he was like, let me go be Jason Bourne. Those movies made a lot of money, right?
Usually, people in that age bracket that were part of a big franchise get more than one shot at something like that.
Ooh.
That's all he got.
Ooh.
That's it. You get one kid.
Ooh, man, you can't carry us. You can't carry a movie. Let's go with somebody else.
Now to be seen on Big Brother Celebrity or
you're-
some shit.
So if you're Taylor Lautner and listening to us now, thank you for listening to us. If you have other friends, Mr. Lautner, that would like to listen to us, forget who the fuck you are, but they have different podcasting platforms than you listen
You
to.
post this on Twitter and
We're on
and
Spotify,
add him.
Apple, Google, and Amazon.
And be like, ooh, someone mentioned my name. I haven't heard that
Google,
in a while.
any minute now, Google's going to become YouTube Music. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Taylor Lautner. There's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yes. If you have feedback on other things Taylor Lautner has been doing to educate us on where the hell this guy went, please email us at travelersontheomnibus@gmail.com. Again, that's travelers, 1L on the omnibus
We're going to
at
get somebody
gmail.com.
who was like really into Twilight.
Brady,
Was on,
were you into Brady? Were you into Twilight?
No, my
Ethan,
ex
were
was.
okay.
No,
Ethan, were you into
no.
Twilight?
I still haven't seen all of the movies.
I've only ever seen the fourth one
Oh,
because I heard
that's good.
Because I heard that what's her name got fed to dogs, and she was.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So my ex wouldn't let me watch the movies with her anymore because I kept making fun of them while we were watching them, and she got really mad.
It's the only way you can tolerate those things.
Yeah, for real.
Dakota Fanning. Dakota Fanning gets eaten by
yeah.
wolves.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yeah.
That is such a violent movie for like that 10 minutes. It's great.
Speaking of feedback, do we have any?
We have no feedback this week. However, if they want to get in touch with us and it does involve email, what can they do for us, Jody?
You can message us directly via Spotify, and also take place in our polls, which is still: is Ethan going to be a dolphin or a dapper boy?
No.
Still 2-2. Still 50-50. So
Until Jay makes like 50 fake accounts.
Yeah.
then it'll be
You just gave me some
52-2.
ideas.
That's a lot of. Well, if that's the case, all of these episodes.
Yeah, we're gonna
got
use
50
like
views.
most of the show budget to like hire
have
some
a
like
budget?
Russian hackers.
Hold on, I have $1 in my wallet.
Okay.
to hire some
If
Russian.
you can get 4 more, we can go on Fiverr and have an account created, and they can vote Flipper Ethan, and then it'll be 3-2.
And then before you know it, we'll have our own beer.
Yep.
there you go.
Speaking of beer,
I don't get that reference.
I don't either. What?
Beer?
What's the beer thing?
Fiverr.
Fiverr. There's someone got their own beer on Fiverr. Okay.
Can I make my own beer on Fiverr?
You can.
Huh.
You can pay somebody to make you a beer.
And it will only cost us $5.
No. Fiverr's not everything costs $5. That is not how that
well,
website
how much
works.
is the beer thing now?
Well, the idea is $5, and then for every like 15 other ideas, you have to give them $100 to get the IPA.
Sure, let's cut this right now.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
too
it's-
fucking.
So the main topic tonight is going to be moments in media that wowed us, that thrilled us, that brought us closer to the media that we were taking in. These are moments that stuck with us and have kind of stayed with us for as long as we are, and for probably as long as we ever will be. And I'll just open the floor to whoever would like to go first with this one.
I read the Necronomicon once
You did?
Jesus.
by Simon,
Oh, okay.
which is a made-up author.
Mm-hmm.
When I read it, of course, like most people at a certain age, when they read it, I thought it was the actual Necronomicon just sitting on the store shelf. And then I started reading it. I was like, huh, this is interesting. So this mad... But for anybody who doesn't know, the Necronomicon exists on store shelves. It's based off of the works of H.P. Lovecraft. They actually wrote 4 books, but that's the only one I can remember currently, and that's the only one most people have ever read. But it's a work of fiction that is portrayed as it's not a work of fiction.
Yeah.
So this mad Arab? Can we say that? Because that's
Arab.
yeah. My bad.
Yeah, and if he's an Arabic man, then yeah, if he
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
from Arabia, and
Yeah.
Arab would be appropriate. Yes.
I can't remember the full name. It's long,
Mm-hmm.
but it also doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, that character in and of itself is a author insert. That's actually
Right.
H.P. Lovecraft
Right.
pretending to be that man.
Right.
Oh,
which-
I'm certain that is.
How would you like
Great.
to? How would you like to summon your own elder god?
Mm.
Well, you can, but you have to go through all these steps. And I'm like, oh, this is a pretty cool stuff. Wait a minute, I have to wait like, okay, so I can't do anything for 30 days that has anything to do with like being with a woman or like alone time. No, that can't do it. Can't spill your seed for 30 days. That's part one of the ritual. The next ritual, you also can't do that. And then so it's like, if you want to go through all the rituals in this book, you just never do anything with that. You have to
that
be
sounds like HP Lovecraft.
you have to be celibate the whole time, forever. And then eventually you can just like begin the end of the world. So that
Specifically, Abdul Al-Zahed.
Right,
is,
right.
The character in particular. Yeah.
but
Al-Hazred, excuse me.
all joking aside, the first time I read Dark Half, have you read the Dark Half or seen the movie?
I can't.
That's Stephen King.
Yeah,
I have not read that one. I've only read one or two Stephen King.
it's one of those King stories that it's the main character is a writer,
Of course,
and
yeah.
so he's got like two stories. That's one, and like the other stuff,
Yeah.
But so our main character is a writer, and then he starts becoming like haunted by this sort of like other version.
I'm sorry, I got the joke. There's either the writer insert or maximum overdrive.
Right.
There's no in
That's-
between.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
There's no in between.
Yep.
Yeah, it's either AC/DC or
Who made who? Who made who?
but
We made you. We
the
made you. Drrrr. That's the sound of a waitress at a diner getting
There's-
murdered by a machine.
there's a scene in the book and in the movie Dark Half, which the movie's actually pretty good representation that hit me pretty hard and it impacted me in a way, and that's the scene where like in the movie Timothy Hutton plays the main character in that comes to realize that his alter ego he writes under has come to life.
Oh, okay.
And it's like its own personality, like starting to like he doesn't know if he's going insane or if this is actually part of him. And the turning point is when you find out that he had a twin brother that died during childbirth, and this ghost is manifested as his alter ego that he uses for writing these stories.
Okay.
And that moment is like it's a big moment where I was like, wow, that was really cool, And then like of course in The Stand, also there's a moment in The Stand where the really fucking crazy insane guy finds a nuke. And he's like, I did it.
I'm sorry. What?
You never knew
You've
that
never
part.
known.
Because even the original miniseries would have been well before your time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of old when I rented it at the movie at the movie store.
I read the book first, so but yeah.
The-
Have you ever
the
been
actor-
exposed to the Stand?
I'm sure I've like heard of it and I've like been around it because it sounds familiar.
Read the abridged version because the unabridged version adds about 800 pages of nonsense.
Yeah, I read the first version of it, and then like literally like a year or two after I read that, the unabridged version came out. And it was already pushing 1,000 pages before then, and then they added like way too many more pages after that.
Yeah.
It's over 1,000 after
The Stand is basically like this disease wipes out most of humanity. And
Apocalyptic.
and then they separate into factions, one being led by the forces of good and the other one literally being led by the devil. And then they fight.
It's like imagine like the interaction between the groups on Walking Dead without any zombies. That's
Is
a
it
pretty.
Greg Kinnear in them? Or am I?
Jeff Fahey is the main villain in the miniseries, and Gary Sinise.
Gary Sinise. I was thinking Gary Sinise, but I said the other name.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That the
Lieutenant
miniseries, original miniseries, had a lot of. It was stacked as far as cast goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, like as far as books go, and I guess you could count movies, but I got like a lot of movies written down here, as well as music and other stuff or whatever. But like books, that's some of what I got written down. So
do we have some more book stuff?
Yeah, I can go over a couple of book things.
Go for it.
So one real quick. Some of these I'm going to be a little vague about because I really don't want to spoil them. But like I've talked about before, one of my favorite authors is Brandon Sanderson, and kind of his I think magnum opus right now is the Stormlight Archives. And in pretty much every one of those books, there is like a stand up, fist pumping, holy shit moment through each one of those. Most of them involve one of the main. The story is told through multiple main characters. Most of the time, it happens to one of the main characters, Kaladin, who is he was once he was a soldier, and then he got sold into slavery, and then he kind of broke. And he ended up becoming like a hero, but he still even in the last book, there's a really it's really good because he's dealing with PTSD. They don't call it that because it's like fantasy, but he's basically dealing with PTSD because he's had all these traumas happen to him in life, and it's kind of broken him, and he realizes that he's broken. They even like start like a support group thing, but there are like a couple of times when he sort of in their magic system is based in this part of them is based on oaths, where depending on what kind of, this is going to sound weird, but kind of sub-faction, you take certain oaths, but there's two that everybody takes, and whenever he takes that next step, like it's usually like a holy shit moment, but then there's also a moment in the most recent book, The Rhythm of War, between that reveals a lot of stuff. Under a moment of intense like interrogation, there's kind of this trial happening where they're putting where all of humanity is getting put on trial, and they bring in somebody who shouldn't be, they shouldn't be, it's kind of messed up what they're doing, and the person comes through and with some testimony that really like kind of like blows, like it reveals a lot, and also like is kind of a stand-up moment because you've kind of been waiting for something to happen with this character, and I'm sorry if I'm being like super vague. I just don't like these are like really big moments in these books, like pivotal moments, and I don't want to like
it's a weird line because you want to like express why it meant to, but if you go into describing it, you may be robbing someone of the ability to have that moment themselves fresh because it came to you fresh.
Yeah, one that I will, in the second book, there is a moment where he finally says the next part of the oath, and he gets his there's these things called shard blades, and they're like super powerful weapons, where they can basically, if it's non-living, they can cut through anything. It just cuts through it like nothing. If they're living, if they cut through your arm, your arm's dead. If they cut through like your spine, you're dead. Like you don't and like there's no blood or anything. It's just you fall dead. Your eyes burn out. So it's a super powerful weapon, and like kingdoms are fought over these things. But you find out some things about the shard blades, and he finally gets his, and he fights one of the main bad guys in the series at like full strength in front of. So this is also a world that has they're called high storms, where it's literally like they can predict them, where they roll through the entire world one section at a time, and they're fighting at the front of this high storm, and the storms are also what gives them their power. So like he's being able to fight at full power and not have to hold back or anything like that, and it's really fucking cool. But it's one of those, because he's like, bad things continually happen to him, but then he like rises above, and it's like, oh shit. These parts also happen to like several other characters throughout the books, and they're really, really good at that. And real quick, this is not a book, but it is a graphic novel in the Sandman collection, Fables and Reflections, which is a collection of short little kind of short story, basically graphic novel types things. One of my favorite things in Sandman is a very short story called Fear of Falling, and it's about this writer who is putting on this play, and he gives up, but then he has a dream where he's climbing this mountain, and at the top is Morpheus, is the Sandman, and he like tells him like, hey, aren't you afraid that you're gonna fall? And he's like, and the part in it that sticks out to me is Morpheus gives this kind of monologue where he talks about how yeah, it's true, sometimes when you fall, you die, sometimes bad things happen. He says, it is sometimes a mistake to climb, it is almost always a mistake to never even to make an attempt. And he tells him like, yeah, sometimes you die, but sometimes and sometimes when you fall, you wake up, and sometimes you die. But there's a third option. Sometimes when you fall, you fly. And those words kind of give him the push that he needs to actually complete the play and actually put it on. And it's a very small story, but just those words that he said like means a lot to me. Like it really like hit me hard. And it's something that like I think about, even though that's not one of the more popular parts of the Sandman story. So yeah.
Ethan, how about you?
The previous two have talked about books, so I guess it's my turn to talk about a book.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite book series that I've ever read, I've mentioned it so many times on here, is the Scythe series.
Mm-hmm.
And the sequel of it, Thunderhead. In the entire setting of this like futuristic utopia, there's alongside the Scythehood, there is this entity known as the Thunderhead. The Thunderhead is all-knowing, all-seeing, no one knows where it came from. All it knows is that it had appeared, and all it wanted to do was give direction to society, to like guide society into how what it should do, pros and cons of certain decisions on certain actions. And one of the established rules of the Thunderhead is it does not interfere with the Scythehood. So no matter what the Scythes do, it does not interfere with the Thunderhead's ideals or plans. It is an unknown entity that people revere in like a high standard. And so there's this one character, and in the entire series, there people have this kind of like have these statuses. If you contribute to society in a positive way, if you support your community, you're known as a desirable. However, if you're more so like a miscreant, you try to destroy this utopia that people have built so hard to build, you're labeled as unsavory, in which the Thunderhead discontinues all communication with you. You are left alone to fend for yourself. And so, as the book goes on, there comes to this very big scene in the very end, where one of the like big headquarters of the Scythehood is brought down. Imagine imagine a Atlantis-like size city that is like sunk into the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, and the Thunderhead, it doesn't intervene with anything that the Scyther does. It doesn't question anything that the Scythes do. But however, when it knows that the grand headquarters has sunken, and knowing that one of the major branches of something that revolves society, it lets out this massive wail that everyone around the world hears, that is known as the Toll. And once that happens, it labels everyone in the entire world as unsavory. And so it discontinues all communication with everyone. Everyone is left in a panic, and so they have to go on and try and survive without the Thunderhead. They've gone so far in society without this direction from this omnipotent being. They have to figure out how to like fend for themselves now. And so it goes into the third book called The Toll, of how people are trying to like reach the Thunderhead again. What can they do to take off this unsavory label? What are they going to do about the sunken Scyther city? And that one scene where it describes the whale as hypnotic, as if the Thunderhead like took pain and it understands what pain is, even though it doesn't have a body, it doesn't have emotion or anything like that. Just knowing that this omnipotent thing felt something. And so that was like one of the big things that like impacted me while reading it.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to end up getting that first book for my daughter for Christmas.
I highly recommend it. If you're into like young adults, like science fiction, futuristic utopias, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. If he doesn't like it, I'll blame you. So,
I got one more real quick.
Okay.
It's comic book adjacent.
No, let's go for it, man.
So, thing about comic books, especially like in the early to mid '80s, a lot of characters had started becoming stale. Like these main heroes, they can't die. They can just be like rebranded or changed in some way. And so I remember watching like Saturday morning cartoons and things of that nature, and growing up in a Pentecostal household, and didn't necessarily get to get comic books very often. Every once in a while I'd get to sneak one by when I was hanging out with my grandmother or something like that. And so I was familiar with the character, but I wasn't really familiar with the comic book much. But I was able to get the first issue with Spider-Man in his new black costume.
oh, wow.
That was before they really started changing characters to that level. And so they changed the way Spider-Man looked, and it's like, oh man, he's got this new cool looking black outfit or whatever. There's no symbiote yet. Yeah. None of that's mentioned. That shit
it's just black.
They mentioned that later on down the road, where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, how you got this black uniform? This alien, and then eventually they painted themselves in the corner with, how the fuck do we get him back to the original costume? Because now people want to see him back in the original costume. And so that's how you get Venom, and that created a whole different dichotomy between
Where did Greeks go to learn?
Academy.
Academy.
Change the whole outlook on Spider-Man villains, because up until that happened, and up until they created Venom, most of the rogues gallery for Spider-Man was like, at that point you get tired of seeing the same villains over and over again. So the moment where he sheds that suit under the bell and all that, that shit's so cool. I was like, man, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen. I didn't say shit because I was a kid, but
that's the coolest stuff I've ever seen.
That is the coolest dag nab thing I've ever seen.
Gee Willikers. Gosh darn it.
What about you, Jay?
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps at its petty pace from day to day to the last syllables of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Act 5, Macbeth. I have Vedas Perkins and specifically Vedas Perkins, my English, honors English 12th grade literature teacher, for having me understand Shakespeare enough. That's really, if I had to pinpoint my love for English literature, it was from Vedas Perkins' 12th grade class, and Macbeth in particular, and that soliloquy in particular.
Yeah.
It's at the end where he is going to die, and he knows he's going to die, even though he's been told that no man of woman born will ever kill him. But the inevitability of this is coming, and he just doesn't know how it's going to eventually end up happening. It's such a powerful piece of literature. It's knowing that Shakespeare wrote for the pit and still was able to produce things of this caliber, that Macbeth, Prince of Denmark, some of his darker stuff that I would later read, Titus Andronicus. If you ever wanted to know what would Saw have been like, if William Shakespeare wrote it, read Titus Andronicus.
Titus Andronicus has some rough parts.
There's a movie version of it with Anthony Hopkins as Titus, and I can't remember his name.
Anybody. I know I can see the poster.
Yeah, and it's brutal. It is extremely, and this, like, we're talking like late 90s, early 2000s brutal, written in Shakespeare's time.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't Titus the one that has the your mama joke? Where
Pretty
they
much.
go, where they go like.
There's that. There's do you remember like how awesome and fucking hardcore it was that Arya Stark baked Walder Frey's kids into a pie for him? Yeah, Titus Andronicus.
Yeah,
And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
It was just Titus.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
the play is Titus Andronicus.
The play is Titus
called
Andronicus,
Titus
but the
Andronicus.
movie.
Anthony
Anthony
Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Yeah.
Who else?
Yeah.
Who is the person we were looking for here? Because I can see him
Anthony
right now.
Anthony Hopkins, Jessica Lange, O'Sheen Jones.
Oh, Jessica Lange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jessica Lange's.
Alan Cumming.
That
But in Titus, like, and you know way more about this, so you can correct me. But somebody says like something like you have undone my mother or something like that, and he goes, villain, I have done thy mother.
Yes. Yep. I go back to Macbeth for unwarranted comedy out of fucking nowhere. The night porter scene. Again, I've mentioned on the show when he talks about, it's like how alcohol gets you ready to fuck and then takes away your ability to fuck.
Yeah.
Which is great. In this play about, fucking evil spirits and fucking conniving.
Yeah, he had to do something to lighten the mood
to break it up
in that movie.
Where does Rosencrantz and
that's Hamlet.
That's Hamlet.
Oh, is that Hamlet? Okay.
Yeah, that's Hamlet.
Hamlet's probably my favorite. It's not even probably. It's definitely my favorite of the.
That's a quality answer. People like, Macbeth's your favorite. It's like, you need to get into like the deep lore of Shakespeare, and you need to pick up. No.
Yeah, the histories.
Yes, yeah, the histories. Yeah, actually, that said, honestly, Richard III is actually pretty.
Okay.
Richard III.
Richard the Fourth.
I can't remember.
Henry the Fifth.
I don't know any of
Henry IV Part 1 and 2, because that has the once more dear friend, once more unto the
breach,
dear friend. That's a great one too.
That's that to be honest, that's a blind spot of mine where I haven't read any of those.
But yeah,
Plays are hard to read sometimes too, though.
Yeah.
Well, especially
so if anybody's looking for to read Shakespeare, there is some a book like a series kind of. I've seen them in Barnes and Nobles, and I think maybe even Books A Million, where it's Shakespeare side by side, where each page will be this is the play exactly how he wrote it, and then here is kind of a layman's terms,
like a novelization,
to me properly, it is a translation.
Yeah, it's a translation.
When you're coming in from late middle to now modern English, and actual modern like into like. Now, like specifically now English, you're not. until you've read enough Shakespeare that you don't need, like, this is such a weird pedantic way to
Right.
say this.
Right.
Until you've done enough Shakespeare where you don't need the annotations, you need the annotations.
Well, I mean, you have Old English, but you also have like stage English as well.
Yeah.
like it's presented to you as a play as
One
you're reading,
specifically
which is
iambic
kind of
pentameter.
hard to.
Well, yeah, in order to keep meter, he chopped terms up and things like that. But even then, it was enough to close to slang for them that they could pick that up and go at it from there. And that, again, that's not Old English, because if you want Old English, I used to be able to recite the Our Father in Old English because that's one of the things you do when you're an English major is you come up with these weird fucking things to do with Old English. It's like Urvater, and I'm like, it sounds German as fuck.
Yeah.
So like under my notes, like after the first little blurb, I have like sort of like titles for the moments. So for example, and I can say this to most everybody but Ethan here, the real ending of Full Metal Jacket. So for me, like the moment in that movie is when Pyle, shoots
Hartman.
Shoots Ernie, what's his name?
Arlie Ermy.
And then kills himself. And then after that, I'm not interested in the rest of the movie because I feel like that would have been such a different outlook if that would have been the end of the movie, if they would have led up to that, and then that's where it ended. And because at that point we hadn't had the swath of Vietnam war movies, but there were a few, and so that would have been.
Apocalypse comes before this.
Yeah, Apocalypse is 77.
Yeah.
Platoon is 86.
Yeah.
We had Apocalypse Now. We had The Deer Hunter. There were a few more. Good Morning Vietnam. But
that's later.
Was
Born on the 4th of July was later.
Well, Born on the 4th of July was a little bit later, but I think Good Morning Vietnam was 85. I think that came out of 87. Okay, so it's like right after.
Yeah.
But so that moment in that movie right there was like, oh my God, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I guess I'm in the minority where I say that I actually also really love Full Metal Jacket as a whole.
I do too, but I think the bridge between you two is that's two separate movies.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of what happens to Joker in the second half is informed by what happens in the first half.
Right, yeah.
And at the same
but yeah,
time,
that is a very powerful part of the movie.
I can also appreciate two of the more compelling characters in the movie are gone halfway through the movie.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. For sure. Also, so there's no
Ethan, do you know how to tell who's a Viet Cong?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you know how to tell who's a Viet Cong?
How?
Well, if they're running, they're Viet Cong. But if they're standing still, they're well-trained Viet Cong. That's actually from the movie.
Yeah. Isn't that the chopper scene? Where,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another.
That's one of the Baldwins.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
So
Adam Baldwin.
Adam Baldwin, yeah.
So what's considered like the lesser of the two Schwarzenegger Conan movies? I believe I always
Destroyer. Barbarian is the first one.
The Barbarian.
Yeah.
So Destroyer and Conan the Destroyer, they're on a mission to find a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they find the MacGuffin, which is a horn, right? They bring the horn to this queen. Like, this is the movie's ending. We've got like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So we've gone through all these trials and everything. We've killed wizards by smashing mirrors. Don't think about it.
Grace Jones has been with us the whole way.
Grace Jones has been with us the whole way. And then we go, all right, well, this job that's been tasked to us, this quest, we've done it. All right, here's your horn. If this was a D&D campaign, that might have been it. Or
roll the credits.
Yeah, roll the credits in the scene. Like, let's go on to do something
let's
else.
tally up our XP.
Right. That's not what happens here, though.
Okay.
So we hand the horn over to the queen, and the queen goes to this like statue this very like Greek Roman-esque kind of statue of this image of a quote unquote god, a primordial god. And as they're putting the horn into the head of the statue, there's supposed to be a sacrifice that happens because something fucks up right there.
They're supposed to sacrifice Olivia Dabo's character,
Which is the virgin princess or whatever. That doesn't happen because Conan's like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this chick getting murdered right now, because he kind of had the hots for her. And so they put this horn in the statue, and the statue turns into some fucking crazy ass, like, mutated monster thing. And I was like, I don't know, like 12 or something when I saw that. I was like, holy shit, this is fucking crazy. The whole movie's bonkers anyway, but when you get to that point, it's just like, wow, this is wild.
So I watched Conan the Barbarian and was like, holy shit, this is batshit crazy and awesome. And I loved the gore, and I loved the bloodiness, and I love everybody being like super edgy and shit. And then I went to rent the second one, and it was PG-13. I was like, fuck this, and I never watched it.
Well, for me, I saw them both on cable at my grandmother's house. So I watched the second one first.
Okay.
So I was like, oh man, this first movie's okay. And then the second movie's like, this movie's amazing.
Yeah.
There's snake cults in it.
Yeah, on cable they probably cut out the part where he was banging that demon chick and then he threw her in a fire.
This was on HBO.
Oh, okay.
I got to see the whole thing. But yeah, so those movie moments, pretty cool stuff, for sure. And then I know we've mentioned it before, but Artax and Atreyu from Neverending Story.
Oh yeah,
that depressed the fuck out of me as a child.
That fucked me up as a child. And that stupid fucking turtle that was just a piece of shit.
It just didn't do anything but be annoying.
Just a piece of shit, man.
Again,
You'd think turtles would be better than that.
You'd think.
Again, knowing Artax did, like, the horse itself didn't die, that will always be funny as fuck to me. Because it's the same reason why Dobby dying at the end of Deathly Hallows Part 1, I was just laughing.
Yeah, I didn't give a fuck about that elf.
Well, it's even more so there because that elf legitimately does not exist.
Yeah.
It is not a real thing. It's just a computer generated thing. And you have Daniel, God bless Daniel Radcliffe, having somebody help me.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
What fucked me up about Artax is that as a child, it never occurred to me that an animal could feel sadness and despair. Like, I was thinking, okay, we got to worry about Atreyu here,
Right.
And then the horse is the one I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, I did not even see that coming. Like, that was just mind blowing.
I'm just like, suck it up, get a better horse.
Yeah.
A moment I also caught when I was like sort of young was so there's this this anime series called the Magical Adventures of Unico, and they're supposed to be made for children. However, in the second movie, which I can't remember the exact title of it, but in the second movie, the evil bad guy is turning people into stone. All right, that's bad, right? That's not good. Okay, so his castle is made out of people that are turned to stone, and near the end of the movie, of course, Unico, with Unico's powerful magic, is defeating this bad guy. However, the castle starts crumbling, and I know a lot of people probably don't think, oh, those are people.
Yeah.
They're dying more so now. If there was any way of bringing them back, that's not happening. That fucked me up a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Damn.
I want to talk about several parts in a series that really, I think, does a really good job of fucking up the way that you think about things. And this is the series Black Mirror. There have been many of these episodes that have had moments in them where man, it hit so fucking hard. One of them being the entire history of you. Okay, what if everybody in the entire world had a little thing implanted behind their ear where everything that they see, they record, and they can instantly, with this little remote thing, bring it back up. And so you have perfect recollection of everything that you've ever seen. Well, what would that do? Well, when you see something kind of funny and maybe you're rewatching a nice moment, you see a little bit, maybe your wife kind of, lingers, touching some other man's shoulder a little bit longer. And you go, okay, well, is that something or is that nothing? So you just start combing through all of your memories, trying to pick out every little thing. And then you're like arguing with your wife. And this is basically what the entire history of you is about, where this guy sees this little thing and he starts, okay, well, I have perfect recollection of everything that I've ever seen. So let me bring up all of these things and let me comb through it to try and figure out, is my wife cheating on me? Ooh. And it doesn't go most Black Mirror episodes in really rough, like really, really rough. Probably my favorite episode is White Christmas. And this is kind of an anthology episode inside of an anthology episode, because the kind of framing thing is two men in kind of this cabin in the winter, and they're telling stories to each other, and one of the guys is like, we would train these personal assistant things, kind of like an Alexa, and what they did is they copied like the brain waves of the person that they're going, because it's supposed to be like the perfect thing, like it knows what you want before you even want it. And the way that they do this is they basically create a copy and digitize your personality and put it into this thing, and then they train the thing. And the way that they train the thing is they tell them, okay, this is what you're going to do. And then if they say no, then the guy, simulates like 10 years of them just sitting there. And basically, and okay, are you going to do what I want to do? Or are you going to do what we're going to do? No. Okay. Here's 100 years of you just sitting there. And your experience, and the copy is experiencing this time, and to you it's just a second, and you're basically torturing them and breaking them until they like perform all of these functions perfectly. And it also goes into another story is about the other guy. He tells a story about how, okay, they live in a world where, if you want to, you can basically erase people. Where, say I'm sitting across from Ethan and say I don't like Ethan and I don't want him to have anything to do with me. He can basically just see my body, but like my face and anything that I say is just a blur. Like it's basically a blank face. You can't see anything and you can't hear anything. And it also, if I have children, that is the same way. Like you can't see the children, you can't understand anything about them. They're basically like a blank slate. And some of the stuff in, I don't want to spoil it, but like, man, some of the, like the twist in that one is super fucked up and very depressing, and nobody gets out of that one. Like both people have like the worst thing happen to them. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's so bad. And that's just like, and it hits you, Black Mirror, especially those earlier episodes, hit you very hard. There's some hit or miss of those early ones too. Another big one is 15 Million Merits, where the world is based, like there's this the main character lives in this place where I guess he's like creating power or something like that, where he's just on this like where everybody's on like these exercise bikes. And the more that you bike, you're building up merits, and you can, when you're off duty and you're like watching this little like video game thing, but as you're building those up, you then, it's basically like a company store, because you like, when you go to your room is like all screens all around you, and it's playing stuff, but then it'll play a commercial. You want to skip that commercial, it's going to cost you some merits. Mm-hmm. There's also these shows where you can like go on, and if you sing really well, you can like get like you can move up and get like a better deal. But you got to pay to get onto that. And he kind of feels for this girl, and she doesn't have these, and he has like way more merits than anybody else, but he pays these merits for her to get on there, and then she ends up not being a good enough singer to go with the singer guy, but the guy who does prostitutes, he's like, yeah, I'll take you. And but yeah, that one's pretty rough as well. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling, but yeah,
no, that's fine. I need to watch Black Mirror.
Black Mirror, like most of the, especially the earlier episodes, man, really hit you really, really hard. Yeah,
Good stuff. Ethan, do you have anything from like say movies, TV, stuff like that?
I have like just like a little funny haha sort of thing. So one of my
like funny how like I amuse you? Am I some kind of clown? Or?
Like how in the fucking world is this one duck so powerful? That's kind of what I want to call it. So
Go on.
Okay.
So Kingdom Hearts, okay.
Stop.
Okay. Too far. Too far.
Donald, stop wasting all the potions.
So, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Donald Duck is the lousiest fucking teammate
He's a piece of shit
ever,
in those
okay?
games.
However,
I can't do it, Donald Duck.
There's
The ingredients, like every fucking fight. He's the fucking Ignis of fucking that game in the third game, and he doesn't do shit for you.
There is a scene in the third game where Terra.
You mean the 20th game?
Yeah, the 20th game.
Yeah,
Where-
3 is the 20th game.
Yeah.
Where the entire group, Sora, Donald, Goofy, Mickey, Kyrie, Riku, fucking Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
They're fighting the big bad, okay?
Joan Jett.
Alex Jones, he's there.
No!
He's
Oh, God.
We can stop.
And
The Heartless is a conspiracy to turn the frogs gay.
and a lot of
That's why I roll with Mickey. Buy my cosmeceuticals.
and so the vast majority of the group is like
Organization
like, beating
13 is
down.
the deep state.
They're beating down. They're getting ready for this final.
Everyone
attack
says I'm
that's-
a nobody. I'm not a nobody. I'm somebody. I'm nobody's nobody except nobody who has another nobody.
If you don't want to be
named me.
a nobody, buy my brain pills.
It sounds like Alex Jones is sitting right next to us. But Xehanort's about to land this like big, like massive attack, and all I see is just Donald fucking Duck surrounding himself in this magical ring, and I see like Donald goes like Donald don't and like his goofiest fucking voice ever as Donald just releases Zeta Flare. So in the entire Final Fantasy games, the most powerful attack was Extra Flare, I think, by Baphomet.
That's the most powerful summon spell is, and really, if you really want to get technical, I don't think it ever got any more powerful than the Knights of the Round.
Yeah.
But as far as pure
Bahamut
spells
did
go,
Mega Flare.
Yeah,
is
Bahamut-
usually what he did. But then there was other versions of Bahamut that would do like
and
different.
specifically in Final Fantasy VII, there were 3 Bahamuts.
Yeah. Mhm. There were usually multiple Bahamuts.
But from the things I've seen, like the most powerful like attack that could be found was like Bahamut using Exa Flare.
Sure.
And apparently Zeta Flare is like 10 times more powerful than that.
Okay.
So how the fuck does this little duck that doesn't know how to use a potion, like, how is he able to wield all
Yeah, it
this
would have been
fucking
nice if he would
power?
have done that like any time in the other 3
literally,
games.
like 20 games earlier. That
Yeah.
we could have gotten rid of Organization 13. We didn't have to worry about nobodies or anything like that.
If there's one thing I hate about Final Fantasy 15 is the fact you don't control when the summons show up. So I've got this fight with this boss and like not a single summon shows up for it. Then right the next thing, 2 imps attack me, and as soon as I start attacking them, it's like, hey, Ramu's here. Do you want to just eliminate all this? It's 2 imps, Ramu. I'm just gonna activate anyway, and then he shows, and he electrocutes 2 imps, and they explode.
Oh yeah.
And you get 1 XP because there's an XP deduction if you use a summon to fight it. Ah,
What the fuck?
yeah.
That's a terrible system.
Thank you, Ramu. I appreciate that.
So yeah,
At least in Final Fantasy 13, I could choose when to do a summon.
Yeah, but then you also chose to play Final Fantasy 13.
I don't know why that fucking duck is so powerful.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
How did him having the most powerful spell move you?
It's more so like moving in anger.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so it's like an anger. It's just full on pure
why
rage.
the fuck did he? Why is he wasting potions when he could just be fucking shit up? Like that kind of.
I like how in Kingdom Hearts 2, you're fighting this guy, and then you're still fighting him in Kingdom Hearts 3, which there is like 18 games in between that.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Chain of I don't give a fuck.
Disney. That's why.
No. Square. That's why.
Sir.
Tetsuya Nomura.
So since we're on video games, I did write down a couple of video game moments.
Okay.
There are obvious ones and there are not so obvious ones. I'm gonna like this one. This one I just said, Metroid. She's a girl.
Yeah.
That's when you find out that at the end of the game that Samus
What?
is a girl. I'm like,
What?
what's this hippie dude just chilling outside of the planet doing? Like, that's
I see blonde hair and curves. That's a girl.
Yeah.
she's in a bikini, you know. So
If you finished it in time.
yeah, if you finished it in
Yeah.
time.
You get a onesie leotard if you
I beat the game and then I beat the game again because I heard about that Easter egg when I was younger. That was a
This
big
is
deal.
what boys had to do back in the day, Ethan. You
And
don't know
then-
how lucky you are.
The thing is, like, I was, video games are so weird back in the day. You never knew when, like, the game was going to be over. If it was, like, a cheaply made, like, third-party game, it could be like, man, you just rush through it and the game's over. Or it could be, like, Journey to Silius, where you're like, oh, man, I'm at the second boss and I'm never getting past this. Or it could be the first time you play Castlevania and you think that the first boss that you fight is the last boss that you fight. Like, oh man, this bat's kicking my ass. I guess I should have.
That's got to be Dracula.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's a bat, and then you immediately go to the stage with like the fucking Creature from the Black Lagoon dudes keep jumping out of the water, knocking you in the fucking water, and you're like,
Level 2 is the first version of the Medusa heads,
oh,
which would become a solid bane throughout the history of Castlevania.
so annoying.
Yeah, Medusa heads suck.
Medusa heads were fucking terrible. Of course, like the big moment for a lot of people, if they haven't got spoiled from it, is in Final Fantasy VII, where Sid joins your party.
Yeah.
But dude,
Well, he has a spear, and someone definitely gets skewered.
I had a friend that played through that game and then like played through it a second time, but decided that he was going to get to Aerith / Aeris's limit break before that scene happened. You know, the scene where she gets stabbed by Sephiroth. That scene that fucking made people cry, except for probably Jay. Jay probably laughed.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Hippie girl died. I'm totally okay with it.
Flower Girl, no more.
Give me the spirited brunette who can fight people.
It could be reenacted in Smash Brothers.
Well, it's like she dies, and then you go to this town. You're like, oh man, I've got this safe combination. Let me unlock this safe. Wow, a vampire was in the safe for some reason.
Vincent Valentine. Or you could have just not found him like I
You
did
could have
in my first playthrough.
Yeah.
I just never had Vincent. And I was like, okay.
I think they said in the remake, like, they're not going to be optional. Like, you're going to get them regardless.
Well, I would hope, yeah, because Yuffie and Vincent were both optional. You didn't have to find them.
Yuffie was like on some random island somewhere, and you had to go to a bush and interact with her.
And her enemy name is Ninja Girl.
Ninja Girl.
And then you had to beat her in a certain way, and then she would join your party.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
oh,
if you
okay.
didn't beat her in a certain way, you didn't get her.
Yeah. No, you could keep doing the fight. Eventually,
Oh,
you could
okay.
get her, but it would be annoying as fuck.
Any other video game moments?
Yeah, I just thought of one that for some reason I didn't write down. So in the first Mass Effect, there's a mission on a planet called Vermeer. I can't remember. Where this is the closest thing that I had come to at that point, and probably even still really. When I replayed it, it didn't quite hold up, but it was still like great. It's the closest thing that I've ever had to playing like the main character of a movie, where I felt like I was in a movie.
In a movie, yeah.
Because there's like you're on this like, first of all, the like you're on this like kind of beachy area next to water. So like this part of this planet at least looks different than all the other planets that you've been through to so far. Because they've all been kind of gray and kind of boring looking, and
like,
this is like
mountainous ranges and all.
Well,
that.
yeah. Well, think of like it's a beach with like there's some cliffs on the side and stuff like that, and you're about to have to assault this base. And one of the guys that has kind of been like they got there before you, and they're setting up operations. Like he gives a fucking like war speech, and it's like, hell fucking yeah, we're about to fuck shit up. And it is like the assault on that, and then getting there and the revelations that happen in there are like, holy shit. But yeah, that's the closest that I've ever came in a game where I felt like I was in a movie.
Right.
It was so fucking cool. And you know, really, like, even the other Mass Effects never, like, they got like really cool moments, like great moments, but that's the only one that really made me feel like that. So yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Any video game moments for you, Jay?
Thank you, Mario. But our princess is in another castle.
Ooh.
So as a child, up to this point,
Right.
I've only played games until I lost all my lives.
Yep.
And I was defeated, and I had a score, and hopefully it was higher than somebody else's.
Yep.
And that was great. And then I played World 1-1, World 1-2, World 1-3, World 1-4. I defeated Bowser. I get the princess. Wait, who are you? It's some dude with a fucking mushroom head.
You're not in a dress.
And he's telling me that, nope, you got a ways to go. It's like, oh my God. Games can have a start and an end.
And that can have a hidden continue. You had to hold down the A button and hit start to continue on.
Yeah, on the one that you ended up on. It was great.
Yeah.
And once you beat the game, you could actually hold down, I think, B, and you just hit select, and would just select which world you wanted to start on.
wow.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, the notion that a game could have a story,
Right.
that, oh my God. And then at the 8th level, you get what's arguably, in my opinion, the most bust version of Princess Toadstool. It's like I fought all the way for this. What the hell? Like Super Mario US 2. That's when Princess Peach starts getting peachy. It's very nice. And she's her own woman. She can float. She can just fly all around. She can't pick up turnips to save her life, even though that becomes her whole fucking thing in fucking Smash Brothers.
And then I had the opposite reaction when I played Super Mario Brothers 2. Because in that game there is no the princess is in another castle. In that game is you fight Birdo 15 times.
Yeah.
And then you fight the frog dude. And then Mario wakes up from a fucking dream.
Yeah.
And I flipped the table. I was so mad. I was so mad. Like, are you fucking serious? I went through all this shit for nothing. That's how I felt. Like, even though it's a game, but like,
You
the
saved the people of Subcon.
Yeah,
you talk about.
you saved the people of your subconscious.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so mad. God
What
damn.
if it was like, like fucking Nightmare on Elm Street? Like if you didn't beat Wart, you just never woke up.
I would have taken that
There you go.
over it just being a dream, or you forgot who you were and it was insomnia. Or,
I think if I probably when I got my my first Game Boy and had Link's Awakening in it, if I would have actually been able to beat Link's Awakening at that time, I probably would have been pissed off too.
yeah.
Because spoiler alert, that one's just a dream as well.
Right.
It is, but it's not your dream. It's the dream of this fish that's at the top.
Yeah,
of
but
the
he still fucking
world.
wakes up at the end. He's like, "Oh shit, I'm still floating in the middle of the ocean."
There's a moment where I was watching a afternoon cartoon when I was much older. I was in my late teens, to early 20s. I think it was late teens, probably like 18, something like that. And I was watching this like, oh man, I love cartoons. Like I kept watching cartoons. I never stopped watching cartoons. And during my day, if you're still watching cartoons at that age, you were a loser. Nothing's changed. I'm still a loser. But anyway, I was watching this cartoon, and then so there's this like, it was like, speaking of Agatha Christie earlier, they were like, there was like, the main characters were like trying to break down the mystery. And then this is what one character goes to another and says, I think we need fingerprints. And then Prince was on the ship.
Yeah.
And then you hear the line, I don't think so. Good night, everybody. That was Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Animaniacs.
Had a lot of inside jokes and a lot of jokes.
She was carrying him.
She was carrying Prince. Fingerprints. I don't think so.
Yeah.
That episode probably didn't air too many times, I would think, because that was probably the most pushed of the subtle innuendo jokes.
Ren and Stimpy always gets the focus for like the fucked up shit, but really and truly, as far as like palatable yet still like beyond the edge, like absurdist shit is Rocco's Modern Life for me.
Oh yeah.
Like one of Rocco needs money, so he gets hired on a phone sex line.
Right.
Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh.
Oh, that's so. It's a Mrs. Bighead.
Yeah.
Rocco. Click click. It's like, oh no.
Yeah,
that click click is the sound of phones when you hang them up.
Right.
Which is something that doesn't happen anymore. Or so.
Yeah.
There was an episode of Rocco where was it Heifer? Was that the name of the cow?
Yes.
Yes.
Heifer just kept going naked.
Yep. There was that. There was another one with him and Filbert just go around town making people say wee wee, and it is absurd as fuck and absolutely hilarious.
The most fucked up episode I saw was the episode where Rocco and Heifer and Sheldon visited the creator of the Fatheads cartoon, the Big Head's son, and man, did that character have some anger issues, and also had issues with the whole thing about like trying to produce a cartoon, and that's where we got Wacky Deli,
which is arguably that's where to me in my mind the floodgate opened up for absurdist humor to be like introduced into
super meta,
into American cartoons. Because once you have that, you start getting things like C Lab 2021. You have Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Right.
That episode has a live action moment in it where someone is taking their hand and destroying a meatloaf.
Yeah.
And it's fucking out of what is going on?
The plot of that it's a two-parter too. The plot of that is that the Big Head son is an animator and he's just bored and tired of animating. No matter what he does, it's becomes really popular. So he's completely like disenfranchised with like his whole entire like career, so he just gets the Rocco boys to make a cartoon.
It goes even further that he's finished his run on the Big Heads.
Yeah,
he's finished his run.
Fatheads
or the fat. Yeah,
yeah.
The Fatheads. He's finished his run. I can create art now. I can leave this. I can create art now. And the producers go, so you have to give us another. You have to give us another series. It's in your contract, and if you don't give us another series, we don't have to pay you for the original one, so you don't get any money. And he's literally be fucking dirt pouring it.
Wow.
So it's like I just need to get this done fucking quick.
He wants to get a show that's going to get him fired out of his contract. So for some reaon or whatever.
So he goes to Rocco and Filbert and Heifer, and they go, hey guys, do you want to do a cartoon series? I'll let you do a cartoon series. And so they create Wacky Deli, and that opening episode is fucking insane as well.
They're talking about they're fucking spitballing and trying to figure out ideas for the show, and they're fighting over what to do with what characters because like Heifer's like I created the cheese. I think the cheese should be the best
Filbert
character.
creates the cheese and goes, his name is Lester
Yeah.
Roquefort.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think that's stupid. And I have to imagine this is just them going, remember those fucking insane fucking arguments we used to have with one another as we're storyboarding this shit? Fucking let's do an episode about that.
And the thing
it just
is,
kept going.
they animated it and voiced it over as though they were still arguing. I am the cheese. I am better than the bologna.
No. I am the cheese. I am the best character on the show. I am better than the bologna and the salami combined. And then they repeat it again in the episode.
And then the animation starts clipping because they don't know what they're doing.
It goes off the storyboard, and you can see like a pencil and a paper clip. And it's going, it keeps going. And they had to throw in that's where the fucking shit with the fucking meatloaf had to come in.
Right.
And like they're viewing this, and Big Ed's son is like, okay, it's like I gave this.
This is gonna fail. I'm gonna get what I want.
The executives fucking love it. They air it, and they keep. We need 2,800 more episodes of
They
this.
put it on TV and its ratings go through the roof.
It's just it won't stop. It won't stop. They're photographed. They're almost photographed everything in the dark room, and then Filbert and the son goes like, oh shit, and he just opens up the door, and the fucking lights fucking like overexpose all the film, so it's all overexposed, and he goes, no, don't worry about it, we'll just air it, thinking that's what'll destroy it. It wins 20 Oscars. It's marveled as a genius masterpiece.
Rocco's Modern Life was so good. So good.
Shout out to Carlos Alazarqui, who is the voice of Rocco. Tom Kenny as Heifer. I can't remember who did Filbert. Filbert's a great one. You turn your page, wash your hands. You
Turn the page, wash your hands.
God bless that. And of course, the big heads are fucking like that. That I would argue that's like Sleeper, the best Nicktoon.
Rocco, yeah, because Ren and Stimpy, so first season of Ren and Stimpy, there were 6 episodes. And 3 of them were space related. And then after that, the second season's where you get some more stuff or whatever, because Happy Happy Joy Joy comes from the first 6 episodes.
Oh, okay.
And then Space
Do you ever
Men.
want to see a red cat twerking directly at children?
And then
Yeah, that was
Happy,
one of the
Joy,
first.
Joy.
That was one of the first Ren and Stimpy episodes that I ever watched. I
Yeah.
rented it. It was on collection
Yes.
in
Right.
the video store, and I rented
Space. You had Space Madness, and there were 2 other space episodes out of those 6, and then that show kind of went off or whatever. But yeah, I guess Rocco was probably more consistently funny and absurd. Sometimes Ren and Stimpy was just randomly absurd.
it. Yeah, yeah.
For no reason. I found it. This is where all the left socks in the world goes.
The only thing I remember from Ren and Stimpy is the episode where they become lumberjacks for a day.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
And-
season 2.
Yeah, and they tie a log on the back of Stimpy, and Ren has the saw tied around his waist, and it's. I only remember raunchy things from.
I remember some of the songs because they would have commercials for things that don't exist, like Powdered Toast Man.
Powdered Toast Man.
I had a Powdered Toast Man comic.
Hell yeah, because it eventually had its own spin-off show, and there was a comic for that as well. Also, there was varicose veins. They were like Lee press-on nails, but they were veins, so you could look like Grandpa.
Yep. Log.
Log.
We
I
have to
remember
talk
log.
about log.
I remember log.
It's big. It's heavy. It's wood.
Yeah.
It's log. It's log. It's better than bat. It's
good. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Right. From Blammo.
Yeah. Royal Canadian Kilted Yaxman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that had its own song.
Again, the opening line, our country reeks of trees. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. We saw this as children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The show is still rated Y7, by the
Yeah.
way. So is Rocco's Modern.
No, but it's not the letter Y7.
Yeah.
It's WHY
Yeah.
?7. Like, what the fuck?
And then the Christmas special where Stimpy farted and it became sentient.
Hang on. That wasn't a Christmas special. That was one they couldn't originally air. And then when they saw it got popular, it's like, fuck it, we'll air this too. Make it a Christmas special. Fucking done.
Yeah.
Fucking done. Oh, little poots.
Stinky.
Like, what the fuck is going on in this show?
Stinky. That's what his name was.
So,
Jesus.
Nicktoons is a wow moment just
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Just Nicktoons.
I'd like to end this on something that's very poignant for me, and for people who know me, you both explain will understand why and also why. So, there's these two people, and they care for each other. It's a man and woman. And they care for each other. They've never been romantically involved, but it's always kind of been played around with. And they're in this hallway, and she stops him, and she pulls a weapon on him because she doesn't want him to go where he's going. And he looks at her and explains that in his past, he lost one of his eyes. And one of his eyes, you've never noticed this throughout the entire series, but they show, like, when they draw him, you can see a little bit of a glint that would look like a camera lens more so than an eye. And he goes on and explains to him, like, why he's got to do what he has to do. And he leaves her with one of the most poignant lines I think I've ever heard in any form of entertainment, book, movie, TV show. I was about to say arcade, but video game. It says, "You're going to carry that weight." And as far as a thesis statement for an entire series where every character aboard the Cowboy Bebop is carrying a whole lot of weight, it's the moment where you know that he's going to die. He has no inclination that he's not going to die, but he has to face it because, one, he's carried that weight for so long, and maybe this is his way of finally kicking it off of him. And yeah, that one scene, Cowboy Bebop is exceptional throughout.
Yeah.
It for me, it transcends the medium of anime because everyone knows, like, I don't really connect with anime.
Right.
But it transcends it so much, and just that final conversation between Spike and Faye is just so good, and it's absolutely amazing. And again, as a kind of like one, I would say one of the thesis statements for the series. I think it there's nothing more powerful than you're going to carry that weight.
Yeah, for sure. There's a line from, and it's not anywhere close to that, but there's a line from Parenthood that I've quoted before. I don't know if I've quoted it on the show or whatnot, but the movie's got a stat cast, and it's really funny. It's also heartwarming, and it's a scene between Steve Martin. I can't remember who plays his dad, but he was a renowned actor at the time, and they're talking about parenthood, right? They're talking about, like, the problems they're having with their, because, like, Steve Martin has his kids, and then, like, his dad still has, Steve Martin's brother is or whatever, and he says something like it's the most poignant thing said in the entire movie because it's sort of a family comedy drama, and he goes, "You never win, son. You never," talking about life. "You never cross the finish line. You never make the touchdown and spike the ball. Tomorrow, Tom will be my son. Next week, Tom will still be my son, and I'll still be his father, and I'll still have to deal with it." And I was like, wow, now that's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
Let's carry our weight on out of here with plugging some of our friends. Brady, because I'll give you first pick.
All right. Whiskey and Wrestling. Holder, Jason, and Hill, Michael, host a podcast where they talk about wrestling. Sometimes they'll be going over the week's wrestling. Sometimes they will be going over older wrestling things where they call them cask aged, and they will pair that with some alcoholic beverage, normally whiskey, sometimes not whiskey, and they'll talk about that as well. Sometimes they'll have really good whiskey, and sometimes they'll have really bad whiskey or some other type of drink.
The Rock's Tequila.
Yeah, the Rock's Tequila was hot garbage. Sometimes they'll complain about the way things are going with wrestling. Sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, wrestling's actually kind of good right now. Probably not that much." Samoa Joe vacated the title after squashing Keith Lee. Awesome. I didn't even watch that, and I still felt that it sucked. So yeah, if you want to hear some dudes' opinions on whiskey and then the wrestling, check them out anywhere podcasts are at.
Jody.
Kevin Sheldon and Jared Hubbard. That's right. I almost forgot Jared's name. on this one.
We should forget his name every so often. We do that to Kevin all the time.
Host a podcast called Silence Your Cell Phones, where they talk about movies and streaming and TV shows and things of that nature. They've got some really cool, varied opinions on all of that. And you should check them out. They're on all the podcast channels where podcasts are sold.
Oh, very nice. Ethan, bring up one.
Fearology, hosted by J.L. Kite, also known as the man sitting to my right. I think I know my left from my right.
No, I don't know my left from my right, so I was making sure.
He was correcting himself.
Gotcha.
Stage left.
He goes on his own personal take on horror movies, horror TV shows, I think. Goes on deep dives on different themes. He currently has 12 episodes. Possibly the 13th will come up here soon, maybe.
Whenever I get a replacement for my monitor.
He gets a chance. Check him out wherever fine podcasts.
Only on Spotify.
Only Spotify. Ignore what I just said. Again, that is Fearology.
The Completed Podcast. Christopher Vega, Brandon Scott Tanner, and Brandon Smith bringing you news and views in the world of Magic the Gathering, from tournament results and ideas on the tournament scene to travel stories going to and from events throughout the United States. At any time, you can just pull them up and you can have that. Actually, legitimately check out their interviews that they have with Magic the Gathering pros. I think it's some of the best interviews I've seen as far as in the realm of like scene and gaming. They're very knowledgeable guys and they know exactly what to ask and what to follow up on. But that is the Completed Podcast. Again, available on all available podcasting networks. We made it, gentlemen. The bus is in the station.
This show is recorded with no studio audience in the lovely studio next to McNarb Gaming. McNarb Gaming, we've got shit.
Get a little
Okay, the way you said that was a little pointed. Just saying.
Lorcana product just came in, boys.
Get Lorcana
Line
while
up
they still
for
have
it.
it.
Someone got a blue Hades that Brady wants.
No, I've already traded for that.
Oh, good, you got it. Excellent, good job.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you
I
have
had
your, does Brady's have all his Hades?
no, I still need one more.
One more Hades. If you have a blue
Brady
Hades,
needs one more Hades. Hades needs Brady's.
Hades needs Brady's.
Yeah,
If you
Brady,
have any,
Brady has cards if you have coin.
yeah. Oh my God, he cheated himself. There we go. All right. So if we're starting to reference Skyrim now, so this is dangerous. So we're gonna head out from you guys next week. The Big Lebowski. We're watching it. We're reviewing it. Play by playing it. So spoilers. If you want to catch up with us, again, The Big Lebowski. I think it's available right now on Netflix and on Peacock, and you can probably rent it off of Amazon if you want to do that. One more time around the table because it is goddamn late. My name is James McCarthy.
My name is Ethan Skinner.
I'm Jody Kite.
We went the opposite direction that I thought we were going to go. I'm Brady Davis.
Thanks for stopping by and enjoying the ride, guys.